Hello everyone and welcome to the Total Nonstop Racing League for tonight's Total Nonstop Racing Bagcraft Grand National Series here from the Rockingham Speedway. I'm Peter Short and joining me alongside is Bob Giaquinto. And Bob, great to be here at the Rockingham Speedway, a racetrack that has fallen out of favor, unfortunately, in real life. Hopefully it will be resurrected here soon, but a great 1 mile racetrack here for tonight's race.
Absolutely, Peter. This is one of those tracks. It's high banked. It's only a mile in length, and calamity pretty much at every single turn. It's a very close white knuckled style of racing here at the Rock, and it's just a lot of beating and banging on a track that almost races like a short track, even though it's just over a mile in length.
That is very true. It races like a short track, but is lightning quick. You look around this racetrack, and of course, with tonight's race only being 125 miles in length, you'll see 131 laps or so here tonight at the Rockingham Speedway, but 125 miles because, of course, we do have some stage breaks here in this series. They're back this season, Bob. Some people like them, some people hate them, but they surely made last week's, or 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a race last week because of Valentine's Day, but 2 weeks ago at Daytona, a spectacular race kept us on our toes all the way to the checkered flag.
That's for sure. Really close action all race long, and for it to come down with a last lap pass and a margin of victory of only 14 one-thousandths of a second, less than a tenth of a second between P1 and P4 coming across the line, and the winner of last week's race, the number 26 machine of JT Poole. And you know, that was one of those races, Peter, where it was a smooth, clean race that definitely had its share of big ones, but it was a great race overall.
Yeah, that it did, and it honestly felt like I just had a little bit of deja vu there, as I couldn't quite tell who that was. Might have been Matthew Rodriguez there smacking the wall out of turn number 2 in back-to-back laps in his Steak and Shake machine. But a great race a couple of weeks ago at Daytona. Looking forward to a good one here tonight. J.D. Laird, top of the board currently at 24.799. Fast man in practice. And then behind him is JT Poole, the winner from Daytona. So a strong start so far for JT Poole to start the season. We'll see if that continues here tonight. John Kennesora Jr. third on the timing sheet so far. Bill Edwards in fourth. He's on pit road right now, and right behind him on the timing pylon is none other than Philip Scott in the National Ninja League machine. But we want to turn over to the chat and see who we got here tonight on 3 Wide TV. We got the Windsors rooting on Bill Edwards here. Let's get a look of the infield here at this facility. I wouldn't call it a beautiful facility yet, but Bob, they have some big plans to revitalize this racetrack, and hopefully it can be back on the NASCAR calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping so. This was definitely one of my favorite racetracks growing up and watching races here on TV. And, you know, it's a real shame that NASCAR has gotten away from this track. But, you know, hopefully in a few years, maybe we'll see it back there on the NASCAR schedule, especially with the new car and all that. I'm feeling optimistic for sure.
I'm feeling optimistic as well. Yeah, it's just 24 seconds left before we get to see the qualifying session here tonight. There is the fast man in practice trying to get one extra half lap in before we move over into our qualifying session. Trying to pick up the pole here tonight is J.D. Laird, one of those drivers that we always keep our eyes on here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, Bob.
Yeah, he's one talented driver. Last week's pole sitter at Daytona, wound up getting a few wins towards the end of last year with the Total Nonstop Racing League as well. So whenever JD's out there on the track, he is always a threat to win, no matter what style of racing it is, whether it's super speedways like last week, you know, short track racing this week. You know, he's always a threat to go out there and contend for wins every single week.
That is absolutely for sure. Let's see if we can get out there on one of these race cars. In fact, let's see if we can jump on board with this man right here, J.D. Laird, as he wheels his way back up onto the racing surface to get his qualifying lap time. And you have to stay below that yellow line until you pass that blue cone that he did right there. Down Thunder Rally, as it's known, the backstretch here, going to take it up high in turn number 3 and 4, trying to get as much momentum as you can as you run towards the start-finish line. Bob, we're going to talk about tire wear a lot here tonight. I think these drivers are pretty much going to get one lap and done here in qualifying. Got to get the good stuff here on lap number 1 in qualifying.
Definitely, lap number 1 is going to be the money lap for these drivers because of how abrasive this old racetrack surface is. And you see JD Laird having a great job coming out of turn number 2. You're going to see that being one of the tough spots here all race long. That car gets really light coming up off of the banking, and as we saw there coming out of turn number 4, JD is able to get it slowed down. And that's one great thing about sim racing, Peter, is if you mess up your lap and you haven't crossed the line to finish it, you could always reset your car, go back in. That first lap won't count, but you'll get basically a redo for your lap number 2.
Yeah, JD Laird might have not liked his lap and purposefully hit it in the wall. I've done that myself. You just get an opportunity to have another lap, another crack at it. Here's John Cannizzaro, fast man so far, 3 minutes, 24 seconds left here in the qualifying session. And Bob, like you said, this racetrack kind of races like a short track. Track position might be very important here tonight, so you want to get everything you can get here. I know it sounds, kind of redundant. Yeah, you want to be fast here, but you really, of course, want to get out there and perform in front of everyone here on 3 Wide TV.
Yeah, track position is going to be key for tonight's race. Last week, I was able to join these guys in a little bit of a test session with some of the new guys and some of the rookies here in the league, and man, it is a tough track to go out there and drive, especially in close proximity. And the further back you are, obviously the more traffic you're going to have to make your way through, but things are going to get tight. It's going to get congested out there, and the last thing you need is to have a million other cars around you. It's much better to be up front and stay there.
So looking at Kevin Stone right now out there on the racetrack, trying to do what he can to try and put a good lap time in, but so far not quite able to get the lap time that he exactly wants. So I think this might be his second and final lap. So we'll see whether or not he's able to improve here in the Famucci Wear machine. Gave him a shout out. Unfortunately, got in an accident last week at Daytona. And then there's Fernando Matos, who had his own struggles at Daytona. Hopefully, all things going well for the Brazilian driver that now hails out of Florida in the Cinerama of Hollandale. Ford Mustang here tonight. Just about a minute and 46 seconds left before we go over into the Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125 here tonight, Bob.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun race, Peter. I'm really excited to see how these drivers are able to tackle just Rockingham in general, but this racetrack really does have 2 grooves, and after 5 laps, both grooves, the inside and the outside, pretty much wind up balancing out. So you can see some guys preferring the high line versus the low line, and I mean, that's going to make some really interesting racing. And coming off of turn 2, could get a little bit tight there, especially once we get older tires. The car's not going to want to turn as much. It's going to push. And in the race chat earlier during practice, John Cannizzaro was basically saying that sometimes the car kind of feels like a dump truck on racing slicks in the middle of winter. And that's kind of how the car feels coming out of turn 2 sometimes.
And speaking of a dump truck, looks like the number 14, his tires are gone now. He's going to come down pit road here and end his qualifying lap time. It does seem, though, Bob, that JD Laird was able to get the good stuff on lap number 2, and guess what? He is going to be the fastest of all. Looks like he was going to be picking up the pole tonight.
Yeah, back-to-back poles there for JD Laird. We were saying earlier that he's always a threat out there on the track, but with a lap of 24.864, only bested JT Poole by 13 1/1000ths of a second. So really close competition out there between JD and JT. But as of right now, it looks like JD has gotten the better.
It sure does. So the clock is going to tick down to 0 here tonight, and we will get things underway for everyone back at home. Good field here for tonight's event. We'll get to that starting lineup in just a brief moment. Just trying to get a few things ironed out for everyone back at home, because tonight is the Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125, and very cool to have the Elizabeth Lorello Racing Team sponsoring tonight's Total Nonstop Racing League event as we get everything transitioned over here, Bob. Great to have all these series sponsors that we have all season long here in the total, the 3 wide TV channel. There it is, Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125. Let's see if we can get tonight's starting lineup for everyone here. Starting on the pole in the number 46 machine, that is, of course, JD Laird. We mentioned it just a moment ago. JT Poole on the outside. These two drivers featured a lot at Daytona, and I'm sure they're going to feature a lot here tonight. JT Poole eventually getting that win. John Cannizzaro Jr., James Lorello in the Elizabeth Lorello Racing number 13 here tonight will be on the outside of row number 2 with Bill Edwards and David Harvey. Great to have him back here in the Total Nonstop Racing League on the outside of row number 3. John Eckhart, the 4th. On the inside of row number 4, Philip Scott in 8th. Jake Hoyle and Kyle Zimmer rounding out our top 10 there, Bob.
On the inside of row number 6, the 97 machine of Mike Floppy Tellier. On his outside, the 14 of Kevin Stone. Tony Lucarelli and Brady Todd make up row number 7. Jamar Dumas in 15th. Tristan Thuggy Maher in 16th. Fernando Matos in 17th. Robert Tripp in the number 35 machine in 18th. Johnny Williams, the last of drivers to put in a qualifying lap, in 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is the 53 of Lupe Gonzalez.
On the inside of row number 11, we've got Stephen Doziak Jr., number 55, Matthew Rodriguez to his outside. Justin White, the out-of-race official, will not be starting from 23rd. Garrett Gleason, though, will be starting in the 24th position. Back behind them, the last couple of starters here tonight, Jason Shue in the number 3 and Keith Carbaugh in the number 29, rounding out our 25 starters here tonight at this racetrack for the Elizabeth Lorello Racing. Pace car now rolling, Bob. Just one pace lap that you get here at this particular racetrack. Each driver is going to be going 150 plus miles an hour this time, next time by.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the most exciting camera angles I think you'll see all night long. Watching these drivers come full song out of turn number 2 like that, down Thunder Alley, that long back straightaway. And, these guys are going to be much closer this next time by, and this is going to be a really, really fun race for sure.
It is going to be a fun race. We do have Nos Anonymous in the chat saying, good luck, Jake. $5. That you're in the big one here tonight. Hopefully we don't see a big one, but the iRacing pace truck going to head down pit road. Green flag is in the flag man's hand. We're getting set to go. Green flag racing here tonight at the beautiful Rockingham Speedway, and we're racing here at the Rock, Bob, as we head towards turn number 1.
Diving down towards turn number 1, looked like the 46 of JT Poole might have spun his tires on the initial start, but right now the field, one car gets up in the wall about mid-pack there, and yellow flag is out. I believe that is the 35 machine of Robert Tripp, also collecting the 9 of Johnny Williams, so we'll get our first yellow of the night. We'll re-rack, and I'm sure if you're JD Laird, I'm saying, you know what? Thank you. Let me get the second shot at that opening restart.
Yeah, it looks like the number 35 there caught the wall, or maybe just missed it, but kind of a coming together on the backstretch there on board the Rhino Linings number 9 machine of Johnny Williams. Let's see if we can get one more look at that, Bobby. You said that turn 2 camera is going to be interesting here tonight. Let's use that turn 2 camera to see exactly what happened here to Robert Tripp. Caught that wall, and then unfortunately it was on from there. Wow, Johnny Williams almost doing a Carl Long there down the backstretch. Remember, Carl Long flipped his machine back in, I want to say, 2004 here at the Rockin' Thunder Alley. But that is going to bring out our first caution flag of the night. No Polyhedral Cathedral, lucky dog here under the first caution. Of course, everyone's on the lead lap, but we will have a couple of damaged race cars here at Bob. I think they'll come down pit road, try and get as much damage repaired as possible, but it could be a long night for Johnny Williams and Robert Tripp.
Yeah, definitely. And a couple other surprising guys down there on pit road as well. The 55 is Stephen Dosiak. As you see him pulling through the 9 machine there, might have, I don't know if he got into the wall or just kind of coming down to get a little bit more fuel in his car, but he and the 3 of Jason Shue also joined the 9 down pit road. But it looks to me that the 35 may have, yeah, he did. 35 did stay out during this yellow. So it's gonna be interesting with that bit of strategy. So as we see the 9 here of Johnny Williams on pit road for an extended period of time, looks like he will be going 1 lap down, which the good news for Johnny at least is he's the only car 1 lap down, and the next yellow, should there be one, and we will get one, we're guaranteed at least 2 more yellows with the end of stage 1 and the end of stage 2, so he definitely still has his shot at getting back up there on the lead lap. And the pace truck still making laps around here. Looks like they'll be going green, not this time by, but the next time by, I do believe.
Yeah, I think you are right here, Bob. You see those lights still twinkling atop that not Chevy Silverado looking Chevy Silverado pace car. Or pace truck, I should say, up at the front of the field. But unfortunately, a little bit of a stunted start to tonight's race. Keith Carball with that Joe Nemechek throwback scheme at the back of the field. Good looking ride. Always enjoyed that Bell South scheme. Always thought it was very colorful. And you know, Bob, I think I caught about 3 laps yesterday at the Daytona 500. And I was just amazed at how many cars are white or black in modern NASCAR, and that number 29 that you see right there is just what I think of when I think of NASCAR. Just bright colors. You could pick that car out a half mile away, if not more, with the bright yellow and blue that's on it. Really good looking ride. Great to see that out there on the racetrack tonight.
I couldn't agree more. I love seeing the designs in NASCAR, and that's actually kind of what got me into the sport as a kid. And I know Garrett has given me some crap off the air for saying that I'm a Jeff Gordon fan. And, you know, growing up, I saw the bright rainbow-colored car, and I said, I like that one. And, you know, the rest is history. But you see that, the Mark Martin, different Valvoline-colored cars, and, you know, the just the design of racing in general. And nowadays, just kind of black and white cars, and all just kind of boring for the most part, unless you're on one of the smaller teams. But, you know, it's great to see so many different colors out there on the track here in TNR.
Ooh, we back to green flag, maybe a little bit of wheel spin as well, a little bit further back in the pack, and it's causing a big jumble of cars back around here. That's the number 15 of Brady Todd in this group as he's coming up on the back of Jake Hoyle in the Miller Lite scheme. Hoyle got a little bit out of shape there coming out of turn number 2. Won't be the first time or the last time we'll see that here tonight. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, we got JD and JT battling it out once again. These two, like I said, we're up near the front at Daytona, but you got to be careful about using your tires too quickly here, Bob, because this racing surface that we have here at this particular racetrack, I mean, it hasn't really been raced on in real life since 2004, at least not habitually. There was a period of time where they did bring the racetrack back to racing status, had even a truck race here once upon a time, and that's about when iRacing scanned it. But this track, absolutely known for eating through your iRacing Goodyear tires, and that's something the entire field will have to keep in mind as finally J.D. Laird able to clear JT Poole, and now looks like John Cannizzaro Jr. is going to be looking on the high side. The Stay Tuned Sports number 12 machine. Great to have them on board, as well as Bagcraft. It's a series sponsor this season. Meanwhile, good battle back behind him. That is the bright number 99. Typically, we're used to seeing a blue number 99, but the number 99 of Philip Scott sporting a new look this season here in the Bagcraft Grand National Series. There's Elizabeth Lorello. Got not Elizabeth Lorello. That's James Lorello sporting the Elizabeth Lorello racing machine. Got Elizabeth Lorello on the mind a little bit here tonight with her team sponsoring this particular event, all 125 plus miles of it, as we got a good side-by-side battle. This is between David Harvey in the number 77 and John Eckhart the fourth there, running the low line. What would you do for a Klondike bar there, Bob?
Well, I would definitely keep battling for position and maybe let someone by only if they promise a Klondike bar. And that's a really good looking scheme out there on that number 45 machine. And hopefully it doesn't melt under the pressure of driving here in Rockingham.
There's nothing more sad than a melted Klondike bar. I can tell you that, unfortunately, from experience. It is, I don't think I'd do a whole lot for a melted Klondike bar, but a fresh Klondike bar straight out of the freezer, there's not a whole lot better out there. John Eckhart right now slotting into the 9th position. 2 spots down from where he started this race in the 7th spot. Same thing with David Harvey, who's lost 2 spots since the drop of the green flag. Might lose another here as the 77 sails around the outside. And that's one thing these drivers were talking about, Bob, is that this racetrack, once you've got about 4 or 5 laps on it, it starts to become multi-groove. The outside line really starts to be strong, not only in turns number 1 and 2, but 3 and 4. Of course, I don't want to go exactly as high as Harvey did. There's contact, there's more contact, and we almost had the second accident of the night. Somehow they're able to stay off of one another, and Kevin Stone and possibly even Mike Floppy Taylor are able to get a position out of it, as Harvey now is going to slide back to the 11th spot.
Yeah, just some really tight racing there. And again, you got a little bit too high up off the corner. A couple of guys coming together, and now, Peter, these cars, their tires are a little warm right now. So you got to, kind of handle them with kid gloves as you go around the corner. Try not to lose control of it. And if I'm the 77, I'm just saying, all right, go on by. Let me kind of collect myself, collect my breath, and keep going. As the 41, I believe that is, of Tony Lucarelli goes for a quick off-road excursion, being a lawnmower there as he comes across the track.
Yeah, let's see if we can go on board here with Tony Lucarelli coming out of turn number 4. There's David Harvey, and Harvey's probably thinking, I'm being ping-ponged around here. You see Lucarelli go through the grass and then almost made contact off in turn number 1 right there with Matthew Rodriguez. They're able to stay off of one another. Kind of no harm, no foul there. Although right now Lucarelli has dropped down the running order to the 18th position, 5 spots down from where he started this race. The biggest comer in this race, well, that is the number 53 machine. Speaking of comers and goers, the 53 Lupe Gonzalez, Bob, started this race all the way down in 20th, now running just outside the top 10 in the 11th spot. But that's pretty good. 9 spots in 17 laps here, make that really 16. But Lupe Gonzalez slicing his way up through the field at this point. Just a long way to go, plenty of time to make their way up to the front.
Yeah, definitely a great charge there by Lupe. I mean, and if you think about it, Peter, we also had a few caution laps in there as well. So even less than 16 laps for him to get up there and just outside of the top 10. And he's got his sights set on the 14 of Kevin Stone, who's just in front of him. That's the battle for, let's just call that one the battle for about 7th place or 8th place, as the 45 John Eckert there just in front of Mike Floppy Tellier, and everyone just able to fit under a blanket there.
A couple of drivers battling for position up here. That's Mike Tellier in the Timmy Hortons number 97 machine. I think probably going for some Timmys here tonight if he makes his way to Victory Lane, get some of those, what do they call them there, Bob? Not Tim Tams, Tim Toms? I don't know.
Timbits, I believe.
Timbits, that's it. Those are the things. Yeah, they love them things. We don't have them things down here in Texas. That's a Canada and now kind of a northern United States thing. I know Tim Hortons has made it south of the border, but I'm probably going to get absolutely chastised by all the Canadians watching. If you're a Canadian and you're watching, you feel free to slam me. But Stay Tuned Sports in the chat here tonight. Stay Tuned Sports, what about you? Do you like some Timmys? I'm not sure if they have Tim Hortons exactly where you are. But we got some good racing out there on the racetrack, and that's not racing, that's wrecking, as we got a big wreck here. 5 drivers involved. Caution flag is out.
Wow, just a lot of guys just kind of coming together there as they made their way through the corner. I'm really interested to see on this replay what exactly happened. Just 4 cars coming together off of turn number 4, side by side here. That's the 15, just kind of going down and collecting the 17, and it's all kind of just pretty much on from there. Jamar Dumas gets involved. The 57 of Matt Rodriguez gets involved. And just pandemonium, Peter.
Pandemonium indeed. Let's go on board here with Tony Lucarella. You see that contact up there. They were just leaning on each other, and then they turned into a mass of 5 vehicles all kind of together out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can get another look at this one, Bob, maybe from the turn 1 camera. You see that group right there going across the start-finish line, and here is that initial contact, and they keep racing together, and bam. A pretty hefty contact.
Just didn't know the 17 was going up. I don't know if the 17 thought he was clear or exactly what was going on. This is going to be a great view off the roof of the 15 machine. And yeah, the 15 and 17 just kind of, they went for the same bit of real estate. And unfortunately, the rest of the field kind of got collected in behind them between the 57, the 41, the 28 there as well. Just kind of a innocent bystander.
Innocent bystander indeed. Meanwhile, we did have some different strategies out there on the racetrack here, Bob. JT Poole elected to stay out. Philip Scott, James Lorello, Bill Edwards, Kyle Zimmer, Mike Tellier, Kevin Stone, John Eckhart, and Fernando Matos. Those 9 drivers all staying out there on the racetrack have yet to make their first pit stop here tonight. 10th spot on back, 10th spot being JD Laird. They all came down pit road here. So an interesting call. They do have 3 sets of tires, I do believe, on pit road here tonight. So as we close in on the 1/5 race distance, it might be a little bit early to use a set of tires. But tires are key here at this particular racetrack, and we'll see how that evolves throughout this particular event. We've highlighted how bad the tire wear is, and we've seen here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, Bob, that different tire strategies can lead to very exciting finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw it a few years ago at Homestead, I believe, with Jason Gracias able to save his last set of tires for a late caution, wound up running his way through the field and eventually getting the win. And you know that I'm a little surprised, Peter, that these guys went down and took tires. I guess if you're trying to do the 25-25-25 plan, but there's 131 laps for 125 miles with the stage cautions and that sort of thing. I don't know if that's just maybe a little bit too early or what exactly, but maybe they're banking on cautions. I don't really know what the strategy would be out there.
I mean, personally, I would think, Bob, that I'd rather save more tires for later in the race than use them earlier, especially with the fact that you know you're going to get some stage breaks in there. You know you have some known caution. So it's not like this race can go green flag all the way to the end. So we'll see how that works out for these drivers. And I can't remember, Bob, I know you probably have this written down somewhere, exactly where that first caution flag is going to come out for the end of stage number 1, because the top 8 drivers do score stage points.
Yeah, the stage ends in just about 10 laps on lap 35. As soon as P8 crosses the line, that's when they're going to throw the yellow. And then stage 2 is going to end at lap 76. So, you know, maybe I mean, I would have stayed out for this yellow regardless, but these guys up front, they have a pretty good chances. Oh, big wheel spin there coming from, I'm not even sure who that was. That might have been the 50 of Bill Edwards, but luckily everyone gets going.
People getting going, but some 2 and 3 wide mid-pack, that usually doesn't bode well here as they head down Thunder Alley towards turn number 3. We're keeping our eyes on that big pack that you see back there. Everyone's able to get everything so far sorted out A-OK. But the driver we're going to be keeping our eyes on here, Bob, is JD Laird, the number 46 machine, the first driver on fresh tires. Remember I said he restarted in 10th and he's already gained 4 positions in a single lap. This is for 5th. Underneath the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier there, going to clear him off the corner. And, of course, he wants to get that stage win in the number 46. We'll see whether or not that can happen, whether or not he can run down JT Poole before The caution flag flies here in just under 10 laps. So far, things looking all good as we head down Thunder Rally. And look at these drivers. It's a lot like a roller coaster here. We usually mention that at Dover, which is, of course, still on the NASCAR schedule. But this racetrack also very much like a roller coaster when you race it.
Yeah, definitely, and it's similar to Dover, where you're coming off of some pretty steep banking onto a decently banked, or in this case, flat backstretch. But as you see here, a great shot here on J.D. Laird as you're kind of coming up, and it's almost like you're going up off of a ramp to land on the relatively flat backstretch just to get launched back up into the corner. And the same deal goes right here with the added bumps. And look at that run the 46 was able to get there on the 99 of Philip Scott, able to close the gap. And now he's going to look to the outside of Scott here for second.
Sending the airmail around the outside of turns number 1 and 2. Move J.D. Laird up into the second spot, trying to pick up that stage win here on lap number 35 and take the 8 points that are associated with it. Meanwhile, back behind them, James Lorello side by side with Philip Scott. Next driver on fresh tires, well, you have to go all the way back to 7th. That's John Cannizzaro Jr., kind of locked in the battle with Mike Tellier right now. Oh, he hit that apron. That's not very good. We're going to jump back up to the front of the field because, wow, J.D. Laird has erased that deficit that J.T. Poole had in a hurry and is your new race leader once again. So your pole sitter is out front, just 3 laps or so away, Bob, from winning stage number 1 here, taking the 8 points that to go with it. But at least for the sake of J.T. Poole, looking like a pretty good strategy call on his part, too, to stay out. So far, it doesn't look like he's going to have a whole lot of pressure out back from drivers on fresher tires. I think this is a little bit of an advantage to J.T. Poole in his number 26 machine if he can stay up there right now and hold on for 7 stage points here in a couple laps.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, look at that. That just goes to show how good fresh tires are. But if I'm the 26 of J.T. Poole, I'm sitting there, okay, you know what? He's got 20 some odd lap fresher tires than me. I'll kind of put that in my memory bank and save it for the end of the race and say, you know what? These fresh tires, short enough run, I think I have a pretty good shot. And even if not 20 laps, and he's still able to hang on with the guy with fresh tires is that's pretty interesting for later on in this race.
So we did not have a Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog under that last caution, but we will have a Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog under this caution. Tristan Thuggy Maher, after being involved in that last accident, is the driver that is eligible for that. So assuming Thuggy doesn't have an incident this lap, he will be getting one of his laps back. Meanwhile, look at this battle. This is for 6 points here at the end of this lap between John Cannizzaro Jr., who's on the fresher tires, and James Lorello on the outside. Looks like Cannizzaro able to take away that spot. Will be picking up 6 points here. So J.D. Laird wins stage number 1 here tonight. Looks like Lorello, Bill Edwards there waiting to see the caution flag fly. Still have not seen a caution, so there's a caution. Caution flag finally coming out here on 3-wide TV. So that's the end of stage number 1. Up.
And it looks like, Peter, the 46 J.D. Laird, after crossing the line, might have gotten into the wall. I believe he's got a little bit of right side damage on that right front. So that's going to be interesting there. He just kind of clocked the wall and got a little bit of that wall glue going as the yellow flag was about to come out. Just kind of caught that in the corner of my eye as the yellow flag was being thrown.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can play that, and so everyone can see exactly what happened here at home, going off towards turn number 1 right there. Yeah, oh, wow. That's a pretty good lick. Just misjudged where that wall was on the entry into turn number 1. That is quite a bit of damage. We'll see whether or not we see J.D. Laird back on pit road to try and fix some of that damage, because this racetrack it's pretty quick. It is not a slow racetrack, this one. You whip your way around here pretty quick, so every little bit of downforce is important. And sure enough, we see J.D. Laird leading J.T. Poole, John Cannizzaro, James Lorello, all coming down onto pit road right now. We did see one driver flash on by I'm not exactly sure who that was, but one of those drivers flashing on by is Tristan Thuggy Maher, and is your Polyhedral Lucky Dog Award for the first time this season. I think that goes to Thuggy. So congratulations, Tristan Thuggy Maher, getting one of his laps back, courtesy of the Polyhedral not Dash for Cash, but the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award. That was last season, Bob. I need to get with the times. But we are asking for a name for the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog. So if you want to name the dog, let us know in chat here tonight, and maybe we can have a poll on what your favorite lucky dog name is.
Trying to think of some ideas for the dog as well. I might be a little biased just because I have two dogs who are Johnny and Sophie, so I won't choose those names.
Well, we have to let the chat decide, so the chat has to throw out some names. So we'll see what they have to say. Steven Dosiak Jr., number 55, came down pit road, took a splash of fuel, now back underway. Jake Hoyle in the number 25 is your new race leader, just fuel only under this particular caution. I believe was on pit road, the caution before this, to take on fresh tires in the Miller Lite Toyota Supra. But under this caution, however, just fuel only. So that gets him out front of this race here, working lap number 39. Biggest mover of the race so far, that would be Lupe Gonzalez, plus 11 still. That number 53 looking all good right there. And on the flip side of things, Tony Lucarelli, who is off the racetrack, will go down tonight as likely the biggest loser in the field, down in the 25th and final spot. So not the night that Lucarelli was hoping for in his Bagcraft machine. Hopefully we'll see him here in the 3-wide TV chat just a little bit later. Pace truck lights are off, Bob. That means we get to go back green here shortly. A couple of drivers electing to take the waiver round there, get one of their laps back. Those were drivers involved in the last accident that preceded this stage break. Hopefully they can work their way back up through the field and get some more of their laps back before it is all said and done. But so far, so good as we close in on the halfway mark.
Yeah, the only issue is you're seeing a gap right there to the right-hand side of Jake Hoyle. That's where JT Poole is supposed to be, but I'm not seeing him out there on the racetrack right now, so it might have a little bit of a connection issue for JT. And if that's the case, man, Peter, that is going to be an absolute shame, because he has had one fast hot rod tonight.
That is pretty crazy. JT Poole, tail end of the longest line for this restart, starting all the way back in the 20th position. Pace truck heads down pit road, green flag back in the air. No wheel spin this time up at the front of the field as James Lorello takes the Elizabeth Lorello Racing number 13 up into the lead of the race as they head down Thunder Alley here on lap number 41.
Yeah, it's always great seeing the sponsor of the race doing well in the race, and that is no exception. One of the former Total Nonstop Racing League champions, James Lorello there. He's got a good side-by-side battle between him and the 12 of John Cannizzaro right now. Cannizzaro looks to come out on top as they head off into turn number 1. Yeah,
great job there by Cannizzaro to take the race lead. Kyle Zimmer getting washed up the racetrack a little bit further back in his Sonorama machine. They head towards turn number 3 again. It's Cannizzaro, but some good side-by-side racing with a Total Nonstop Racing League champion. That is the number 50 of Bill Edwards right there on your screen. You can't miss it. That green and blue, an electrifying scheme for Bill Edwards. Always out there with the flashy schemes, it seems, trying to stay hip and trendy with the youngins these days. David Harvey in the wall in the number 77. Bounces off it a couple of times. Tried to monster jam over the wall. It's going to have a little bit more damage. We've seen him bounce around a couple of times off some of these other cars as they get a little bit squirrely out of turn number 4 underneath. That was the 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. They were now running in 9th in the Tim Hortons Toyota Supra.
Yeah, if I'm Mike right now, I'm a little scared. I'm in the middle of the hornet's nest after seeing the 77 get a little squirrely. A couple other guys around him getting squirrely as well, as we see him make a nice little move to the inside of, I believe that was the 25 of Jake Hoyle. And, just a good move there. He's got the 51 right on his back. That's Kyle Zimmer right behind him.
Some good racing here mid-pack. Tellier now up into 8th with that move on Jay Coyle. Right behind him, here's Lupe Gonzalez now going to work on the number 25 of Coyle as they head towards turn number 3 and 4. Harvey back behind him. And the number 55 is Steven Doziak Jr., Bob, who had a good finish at Daytona International Speedway 2 weeks ago here in the Bagcraft Grand National Series, starting to get a little bit racy. Doze is working his way up. Started down in the 21st spot, now running in 8th, and you can see closing in on Lupe Gonzalez. Now Jamar Dumas has a look to the inside in his Stay Tuned Sports number 28 machine. I just started to say all these good things about Doze, and he has to go lose a spot there, Bob.
You know, it's the broadcaster's curse, but I mean, looking at Doze, he is one of those drivers who may not be the flashiest out there on the track, but he is quiet and sneaky good when it comes to racing. And, you know, he may not be the guy who leads every single lap, but he's always there at the end and always puts himself in contention. So good to see Doze up there in the within the top 10 now.
Yeah, Doze, there he is, wearing pink there on the left. He's a golfer there in Myrtle Beach. Plays quite a bit of golf, wearing the pink shirt, wearing the pink scheme. As I think he's losing another spot here. Yeah, to Matthew Rodriguez. So Doze need to play as well as your golf skills. I don't know, maybe your golf skills are rubbish and you're just kind of holding that trophy because you want to look cool. I wouldn't be at all surprised. But meanwhile, there's Jamar Dumas running down the number 25. Oh, they almost made contact. 28 had to check up big time. Almost got ran over by Matthew Rodriguez in the 57 as Dumas takes that spot. Harvey racing Rodriguez hard down the backstretch. They all go back single file as Fernando Matos there goes below that yellow line, having a very shallow entry into turn number 3. Fernando getting a little bit squirrely out of turn number 4. It's not an easy track. This is one of the more tough racetracks that we're going to go to all season long here in the Bagcraft Grand National Series, and it's race number 2. You get it out of the way early, but it definitely sets you up for a tough start to the season, especially if you had a tough race at Daytona, and some drivers did, because we had a couple of big ones, Bob, back at Daytona. Some that even had me awestruck after seeing so many of these iRacing races. You just think you've seen the big one, and another one strikes.
Yeah, I think the most impressive, I believe it was the 07 of Ben Izinga, who's not racing tonight, but I believe he got space forced in the last lap wreck where him and another car got together and just sent him skyward. And well, Cape Canaveral's close to Daytona, but not close enough to launch you into space. But I mean, some spectacular wrecks, but overall fantastic racing, and we're getting a good taste of that again tonight.
Oh, Matthew Rodriguez. We saw him hit the wall a couple times in practice right there out of turn number 2. Almost did the same thing here in race conditions. You see some right side damage to the number 57 Toyota Supra. So he might have done that again while off camera. Not 100% sure. But Matthew Rodriguez currently running in the 15th position. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, James Lorello running down John Cannizzaro Jr. Now looking to the inside. This is for the race lead here as we close in on the halfway mark, just about 10 or so laps from seeing cross flags here in the Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125. Field catching up to the slow car right in front of him. That is, I believe, Robert Tripp in the number 35. That throws a big block on John Cannizzaro. Nowhere for Cannizzaro to go. That's going to put him potentially into the clutches of J.D. Laird, who is not backing down. Slightly older tires than some of these drivers around him, but J.D. strongly in that 3rd spot. There's Philip Scott riding in 4th, Bill Edwards in 5th. Tellier's been able to squeak his way now up into the top 6, and Kevin Stone back there, the Famucci wear machine, in 7th, as it looks like the number 35, Robert Tripp, might have had another excursion with that turn 2 wall. We saw that bring out the first caution flag of the night on lap number 1. Looks like he might be bringing it down pit road. Currently we scored 23rd as JT Poole, Bob, has pulled off the racetrack. Not sure what happened to JT Poole, but one of the drivers who was up there near the front of the flag earlier has called it quits.
Yeah, it looks like a mechanical error or a mechanical issue on the 26 machine. Actually, in the chat, he said iRacing had crashed, so some engine damage, if you will, for the 26 machine, and unfortunately, he had to retire from tonight's race.
Such a shame. Such a strong start to this event, Bob, for the winner from Daytona 2 weeks ago. And, you know, how cruel racing can be. It can be absolutely fantastic at times, but iRacing can be very cruel at other times. It's just, can sometimes be luck of the draw as your leaders work their way around Brady Top there. One of the lapped cars with some heavy damage. You see very much off the pace is that number 15 trying to let Philip Scott go on by. Bill Edwards as well. See if Tellier can get by the ailing number 15 machine. Very, very tore up in the front, and as you can see, visibly off the pace. So we'll see whether or not that number 15 will get some more damage repaired, but that might be all that poor machine can do here tonight. Fernando Matos back here battling with Steven Doziak Jr. This is the battle right now for the 15th position. Garrett Gleason a little bit up the road. There's G-Money, as we call him, up here in the 3Y TV booth. Sporting the Bagcraft scheme, akin to that yellow that Robbie Gordon used to run there, Bob. As Garrett running in 14th, 10 spots up from where he was at the drop of the green flag tonight.
Yeah, great looking Bagcraft machine there for the 7 of Garrett. Just interesting paint color. I'm a fan of the yellow, so good to see G out there having a pretty decent run right now, sitting in 14th, and just, you know, logging laps and waiting for the close of this race. Stage number 2 will end in just about 15 laps or so. So overall, a pretty decent race out there for these guys.
See at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, a little bit of a track map to see where your favorite driver is out there right now, as Garrett Gleason is locked in a battle with Matthew Rodriguez. The 7 going up to that high side. Got Jamar Dumas in front of him as well. Not exactly sure what might have happened. It seemed like Gleason caught those two very, very quickly. So Gleason makes that pass on Rodriguez, now up to 13th. If he can get around Dumas here, that would put him into 12, plus 12 spots from the drop of the green. So that'd be good news for all the Garrett Gleason fans in the chat. Yeah, JT saying iRacing crashed in the chat. Ryan Hesgard saying, do these guys run every week or every other week? Ryan, they run every week here on 3Y TV. Last week was Valentine's Day, so the week was taken off for those to spend time with, at least some time with their significant other. And, you know, we do all this sim racing stuff, keeps us away from our significant others. But Valentine's Day, we said, hey, we'll take that day off. But for the most part, it is every week, and you'll catch all of it right here on 3Y TV all season long at 8:05 Eastern Time, as Garrett Gleason gets wicked loose off into turn number 1. I'm starting to think, Bob, whoa, and gets really loose out of turn number 2. Good save there, Garrett. Keep it under you. Keep it under you. Whoa, Nelly. Just hold up. Wait a minute. You'll get it. You'll get it there, G. You'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Man, looking like me in the test session last week. Just, you know, it's so easy to slide your car coming out of 2, especially on old tires like that. I can't tell you how many times my car snapped loose on me just like that, but I normally found the front end of my car. I normally found the inside wall there. So good on G to make that save and keep going in the right direction.
Meanwhile, we have a fantastic battle brewing for the second spot. Bob, we're about 10 laps away now from what will be the end of stage number 2. We'll hand out another 8 points to the top 8 finishers. 8 points to the winner, 7 points to second, 6 to third, ... all the way down to 8th spot. And John Cannizzaro Jr. in the 12 is currently in second. J.D. Laird running in third. Philip Scott and Bill Edwards, you're my boy Blue, sitting there in the 5th spot right behind Edwards. Right behind Scott. I should say, as they close in on the lap traffic. That's the number 25 machine, Bob. Remember, he led the field to the green flag, as we have almost gone flag to flag here on the stage. As Philip Scott gets loose, there was a little bit of contact there between Philip Scott and Edwards there on entry into turn number 1. Let's see if we can go get another look at that one here on the 3-wide TV camera. And we'll hold on, that didn't go right. Let's see if we can get a look and see what happens. Apologize about that, folks. And here we go, right there. We're coming off into turn number 1, and yeah, Philip Scott just kind of got ran over there by Bill Edwards. Definitely contact between the two. Good job by Ninja Phil to save that number 99, keep it going straight, and he holds on to the spot for right now.
Yeah, those ninja reflexes really paying off there. I don't know if the 99 just kind of broke early or if the 50 broke late and just kind of came together, but a great save there by the 99. Unfortunately took them out of that battle for third, but they've got a pretty good battle brewing right now as we look off the back of the 99 towards the 50 of Bill Edwards right there.
Yeah, good shot of Bill Edwards. Has that crash dummy helmet and might need it if he gets a little bit of payback from the number 99 machine. Definitely got some self-inflicted damage on the nose of that Chevy Camaro now. They'll have to come down pit road and get that fixed. Johnny Williams has been on and off pit lane, probably about 3 times over the last 4 laps. Johnny definitely having problems right now with the number 9 Rhino Linings Chevrolet. We can follow up with that. Maybe he'll let us know what's happening in the 3-wide TV chat as again Bill Edwards gets close. As Cannizzaro and JD Laird now go side by side for the battle for second. And Ninja Phil with a big wiggle out of turn number 2. Bob, they're trying to get all they can get here before this stage ends here in just about 4 laps from now.
That's for sure. And don't forget, Peter, there is a little bit of a rivalry between the 99 and the 50, albeit a friendly one. They had gotten together back at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway during the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series here with the Total Nonstop Racing League, and they got together for the win as, the 50 drifting out of the corner this time. And, so maybe a bit of a friendly rivalry between those two might be getting a little closer as these laps wind down. Only 3 laps to go now, 2 laps to go until the end of stage number 2, so all of these positions are worth points.
Yeah, all of these positions are worth a point for all of these drivers. You want to be in the top 8. J.D. Laird completes the pass on John Cannizzaro Jr. What can Bill Edwards do? Can he put up a fight with the Stay Tuned Sports number 12 Mustang right in front of him? Looks like he's going to try and do so here. Drops to the inside of Cannizzaro through turns number 3 and 4. Edwards here, Bob, I think he must have saved some tires because all of a sudden he's starting to really crank it up in the S2R Chevy Camaro. Got around Philip Scott. Then they made the contact. Then they dropped back. Then he got around Philip Scott, and he still has been able to catch John Cannizzaro Jr. So very impressive here for Edwards, trying to take away third. Looks like he's going to do so here. So good job by Bill Edwards, former series champion here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, as we get 1 to go, I believe, in this stage. I think it's at the conclusion of lap number 76 where we'll see that caution. A good job there by Bill Edwards to take that spot. J.D. Laird, though, a little bit too far up the road. We'll see if Philip Scott can do anything with John Cannizzaro Jr. Here's the number 14, Kevin Stone, riding in 7th. But James Lorello comes across the start-finish line, and Bob will win stage number 2 here tonight. Take the 8 points associated with it. Caution flag does wave. Right in front of him was Jason Shue, about to fall 1 lap down. And if you're wondering who the lucky dog is going to be under this caution flag, well, barring any unforeseen circumstances, Jake Hoyle, the number 25, was our polyhedral cathedral lucky dog in this caution.
Yeah, and Peter, just going back to that battle with Bill Edwards, just before the yellow flag was thrown, Bill was actually the fastest car out there on the track, about a tenth faster than all of the other cars around him. So, yeah, he must have had some tires saved in the bank, and it was a really good battle there for Bill Edwards, coming up P3 in that stage, so good run for him.
So there is the number 25 machine, our Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog. Big shout out to Polyhedral Cathedral. Bob, you're good friends with them Polyhedral Cathedral folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Polyhedral Cathedral, your go-to for laser engraving, any kind of metal etching, dice making, just all-around nerddom, Dungeons and Dragons things. Bronson, really good friend of mine, able to make pretty much anything. And the cool thing is Bronson's actually going to be making a trophy for the driver with the most lucky dogs at the end of the season. It's going to be a really cool-looking plaque with a mirrored finish, with the Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog logo, the TNR and Bagcraft logo, the driver's name, and the Luckiest Dog Award. So it's going to be pretty cool all season long watching these drivers compete, in air quotes, for the most lucky dogs at the end of the year.
Yeah, the luckiest of the lucky dogs. J.D. Laird extended stay on pit road in the number 46 machine there, Bob. Not sure if he got nabbed for speeding or whether or not they're getting damage repaired on the JDR Graphics Chevy Camaro. We'll have to wait and see, but still sitting in his pit box. That is absolutely disastrous for one of the drivers who has been so strong today, has scored points at both stage breaks, and now about 50 or so laps from the end, losing all of these spots. David Harvey going on by, and J.D. Laird, I thought he was going to be in danger there of potentially falling a lap down, finally going to get rolling, but all the way down in the 16th position. It's going to be exciting to see JD work his way up, but we haven't talked a whole lot about James Lorello because everything's been going really well for the Elizabeth Lorello Racing number 13 so far. Wins that stage and will be the leader once we go back green here shortly. Johnny Williams going to take the wave around in the number 9, currently being scored all the way down in the 22nd position in that Rhino Lining Chevrolet. The Bob, just to reset the field for everyone watching here on 3YT, been a bit quiet in the chat here tonight. Thanks for tuning on in. Johnny Williams saying, 2 times we thought Johnny pitted. It was just he let the leader on by. And Garrett Gleason saying, I forgot to have the broadcast open. Shame on me. Shame on you. Shame. As they say down here in Texas, for shame. On you there, Garrett, but finally figuring things out and coming to his senses here now in the chat. But how you all doing here tonight? Big news out of my household is I'm going to be a father this week, so that's the good news. Looking forward to that, and it's going to happen midweek, so I should be able to be here next Monday night for 3-Wide TV action for the Total Nonstop Racing League. If you hear a crying child in the background, well, that's something folks are going to have to put up with here on these 3-Wide TV broadcasts, I guess, for a while. I hadn't really thought of that.
Well, hey, I mean, a couple years ago you did have the fire alarm going off and, a couple other things. So why not add the crying child in the mix just to spice things up, right?
Well, I was thinking this earlier. I haven't said it yet. There's 50 laps to go, so it still could happen. But I said, what are the chances I'm giving this broadcast and my wife's water breaks? And wouldn't that be something? I'd be like, all right, folks, I don't know who's going to win the race, and I have to go. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we can get to the checkered flag. And hopefully these drivers can keep it green flag, because the green flag is back in the air. James Lorello gets us back underway. John Cannizzaro Jr. in the number 12. Good restart for the number 12 Ford Mustang. And he's going to try and follow the number 13 on through up into second. Edwards going to slide back to third and potentially even lose that spot here to Philip Scott as he catches the wall coming down Thunder Alley. Going to slide back into fourth, trying to, although Tellier's trying to fill that void in the Timmy Hortons number 97.
Yeah, I feel like the 99 and the 50 have been glued to each other all race long, as a couple other cars started beating and banging there at a corner number 4, but a great race here. Good view from the 51 machine of Kyle Zimmer as he sees the 97 right in front of him in the great battle that is ensuing a couple spots up. But, some great camera angles here tonight, and I will say much better than the NASCAR broadcast, especially over the last couple of years for sure.
Well, we do, now that we're a monetized channel, we do play ads every once in a while, unless you have YouTube Premium or whatever it is. But they're all skippable ads, That's a lot better than Fox. You cannot skip ads on Fox. I heard that the coverage of the Daytona 500 was just ad after ad after ad, and the only ads that you get here on 3Y TV are all skippable. We do kind of have the pop-up banner ones that you can close as well, but we want to give you the opportunity to say, no thank you, I don't want an ad. Of course, if you watch the ad, you give us revenue. If you skip the ad, you don't give us revenue. We don't really care either way. We just really just wanted it for the fun emotes that you can get and become one of our pit crew members. As we'll put that on hold as John Cannizzaro Jr. looks to the inside of James Lorello. Nothing doing there. But yeah, if you want to become a pit crew member of 3Y TV, you can for just $1 a month. And you can get the cool little custom emotes like the big green flag custom emote that I just spammed the chat with. So, and you can even get the good old 3Y TV fail emote as well for when Peter Short messes up. Because, you know, I'm the one that messes up, Bob. You are a professional at this for sure, and you don't ever screw up. So you're the Rock here on 3Y TV, here as we race at the Rock.
I was going to say that's using the professional term quite loosely for sure, but some great racing here at Rockingham. I love this digger cam, watching the cars fly by there, seeing all the different angles that are the different angles in the different racing lines that all these drivers choose. But a good battle now right here between the 57 and 24 of Fernando Matos.
Yeah, Matthew Rodriguez in that number 57. You can see that right side kind of a little bit more banged up. I think the last time we saw it running in 11th. Fernando Matos in 12th. Rodriguez started this race 22nd, so I think he might be happy with an 11th place run if he can stay there at the drop of the checkered flag here in now under 50 laps as the lap count really starts to wind down as we're in the final stage of this race. The race could go all caution free to the end. How about JD Laird? Bob had that potentially speeding penalty on pit road. Still not 100% sure whether or not that was a speeding penalty or not, but JD got some damage repaired as well. Did come back down pit road, believe it or not, under that last caution flag. So JD trying to get around Fernando Matos. That'll move him up to 12th, but we getting word that JT Poole might have worked his way back out onto the racetrack, and there is JT heading back onto the racing circuit. Not really going to be able to pick up any spots at this point. In the 24th position, which is not where JT wanted to be at the end of this one, which, you know, had such a strong start to the race. One Daytona, going to have to regroup after the Rock as we go into race number 3 next week.
Yeah, JT, great race. You know, like you mentioned, winning at Daytona. Obviously, he's 50 laps down. The next closest driver is the 35, Robert Tripp, who's 14 laps down. So, I mean, at this point, JT is pretty much cemented into the 24th position unless Tripp or someone else has a monumental collapse within the next lap or so. Unfortunately, JT is going to be finishing back there. I believe he did get some stage points, so it's not a total wash. But for the 26 machine, just a tough race here, and he's going to have to look forward to next week's race.
And next week's race is the Sinorama 300 at the Bristol Motor Speedway. As we're looking at one of the Sinorama machines. That's the number 51 of Kyle Zimmer. We rode on board with him a little while ago, but he's been quietly having a very strong run here tonight. And Bob, you know, I look back to some of the races that Kyle Zimmer has had at difficult racetracks. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but his first race here at TNR last season was at Darlington and had a very, very strong run at Darlington. And this racetrack it's tough, just like Darlington is. And again, having a really good showing up there just outside the top 5.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, this is a very tough track to handle. Obviously, Darlington, another tough track to handle. And, you know, good on Kyle, you know, tackling really, really difficult tracks. And so far is putting in a pretty darn good run, sitting in the 6th position now. And like you'd said, Peter, had a really good run at the throwback race last year at Darlington.
So Zimmer in 6th. He's being pressured out back by Kevin Stone in the Famucci, where Ford Mustang now looking to the inside, but not able to do anything with it just yet. This is the best battle inside the top 10. Lupe Gonzalez running down John Eckhart the fourth. There they are. That is a battle for the 8th position. A little bit further back, Fernando Matos in the other Sinorama machine driving with Jake Hoyle, who got that Polyhedral Cathedral Lucky Dog Award, racing his way now back up to 13. J.D. Laird, he has worked his way up into 11th, so our pole sitter here tonight still playing catch-up. That's David Harvey, the next driver in front of him. But you can see that pretty big gap up to the front of the field where we have seen J.D. for a majority of this particular race. The Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125. And there is the Elizabeth Lorello Racing Chevy Camaro leading the way right now by about a second over John Canizaro Jr., just underneath a second as he works his way through some lap traffic.
Yeah, good-looking machine there on the 13 of James Lorello, and I remember a couple of seasons ago when James debuted that paint scheme, he said that was the car, the design that Elizabeth was going to be racing in, I believe, either Legends or Bandoleros or one of the smaller car divisions down where James is from. So a good-looking race car in real life and here in the Total Nonstop Racing League.
Yeah, JT Poole just said that in the Discord group that his computer actually decided to uninstall iRacing. Not only did it do a Windows update, but it uninstalled iRacing as well. So it deleted a whole bunch of files that he had to re-download, but that's why it took him a while to get back out there on the racetrack. And even my iRacing is having some issues here. Not exactly sure why it's stuttering like it is, but we'll hopefully sort that out at some point. iRacing doing another update, and Bob, you know, I seem to have terrible luck with iRacing and iRacing updates, so they always seem to mess with something. So we'll figure out what they mess with here tonight, as we've had a couple of stutters that we've had to deal with here, I think, even on the stream. We're looking at the side-by-side battle. That is the number 97, Mike Floppy Teller, getting around the outside, and ooh, Bill Edwards coming down pit road. This appears to be an unscheduled stop. I'm not sure why Edwards is coming to his crew here, Bob. Maybe he thinks he can't make it on fuel. Maybe he forgot to refuel his number 50 Silent Syndicate Racing Chevy Camaro, but this is a big blow for another driver who's been having a strong race. There's been a lot of twists and turns here tonight at Rockingham.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what exactly is going on. The team going over to the right side, able to put some right side tires on. I don't know if this is a scheduled stop or what, but well, look at that. The floodgates are now opening. We see James Lorello on pit road, the 55 Steven Dosiak. There's Jamar Dumas in the 28. So, well, maybe they're just kind of following the trend and heading down pit road. But I don't think 26 laps on a tank of fuel. I guess now they know for sure they can make it without having to stop now.
Well, the only thing I can think of, Bob, is if you do the math, there's about 27 laps to go right now. So I wonder if these drivers were deciding to kind of split the final run in half. Maybe they couldn't make it that full 55 laps to the end of the race. So they said, you know what, let's just come down. Let's break it in half. Let's get the fresh tires on. Let's use the fresh tires. Let's close out the rest of the race strong and see if we can get an advantage on some of these drivers like John Canizaro Jr., who's still staying out, being closed in fact, by the number 97 out back. As I say that, though, Mike Tellier is heading to his pit crew. But I think this is just going to give advantage if we can cycle through and not have a caution flag. I think this is just going to give an advantage to James Lorello, because he went hard on those tires, went out, went fast, got a decent race lead, and he's come down pit road, taking on four fresh tires.
Yeah, and don't forget, too, the 50 and the 13 are teammates. So, you know, we saw the 50 come down pit road, 13 right next lap, he came down pit road. So I'm sure there was a little bit of team chatter saying, okay, here's our pit strategy. There's going to be 20 some odd laps to go when we get off. If there's not a caution, we have a really good chance at getting running away with this thing and hopefully finishing 1-2. But I think at this point, if a caution were to come out now, it might trap some really good guys 1 or maybe even 2 laps down. As you see here, the 51 of Kyle Zimmer having a little bit of issue getting on to into his pit box.
Yeah, that's a shame for Kyle Zimmer. He had such a strong race going here tonight. John Cannizzaro Jr. in the number 12 is still your race leader, yet to pit under this round of green flag pit stops. You don't often see green flag stops here at Rockingham. Lupe Gonzalez, he was one of the 5 drivers, to still stay out, now coming to their pit crew. John Cannizzaro Jr., David Harvey, Fernando Matos, and Jason Shu, the only drivers left to make their presumably final pit stop here tonight. There is Jason in the number 3 machine, that Wheaties-inspired Dale Earnhardt throwback. Got the Firehouse Grill on the hood. Good-looking ride. There's David Harvey, making his return this season to the Total Nonstop Racing League, going up the racetrack in turns number 1 and 2. Has the number 29 mobile right back behind him, that Joe Nemechek throwback of Keith Carbaugh. Keith, unfortunately, multiple laps down in the Bell South machine. And, coming to pit road, right? Was thinking of coming down pit, not sure if Keith Carbaugh was headed down pit road or not there, but Mike Floppy Tellier had to check up, had to go all the way below the apron to avoid contact with the number 29 machine. If I'm that number 29 machine, if I need to come down pit road, I'm saying pit, I'm pitting, and I'm getting in the voice chat telling everyone I'm pitting this time, because that was almost a big moment. Looks like he's going to stay out this time as he gets caught by JD Laird there big time coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, and it didn't look like he was coming down pit road, at least in the text chat here in the iRacing session. Nothing popping up from him, so I don't know if he was just a little bit slow coming off of 4, because we saw the 46 of JD Laird get a little bit tripped up from him as well. So I don't know if he was just coming down pit road and couldn't quite get it, or just was a little slow coming off the corner. But either way, big tight situation there for a couple of those drivers.
So John Cannizzaro Jr. still staying out there on the racetrack. Dave Harvey, there's Dave, yet to pit. Fernando Matos, yet to pit. Jason Shu, yet to pit. Those are your 4 drivers. First driver on fresh tires who has made their final stop here tonight is James Lorello. James just unlapped himself, just got around John Cannizzaro Jr. and now back onto the lead lap. As that happens, John Cannizzaro coming down pit road, 18 laps to go, getting it all woed up there before the start, or not the start-finish line, but the start of pit lane, as he comes into his pit crew here momentarily. So once this all cycles on through, we do expect James Lorello to be back to the race lead, but at least momentarily, David Harvey is your new race leader by about 6 seconds over Fernando Matos as he continues to circle around this 1-mile racetrack.
And one interesting bit of fuel saving that I at least I think I heard is that for the last couple of laps, John Cannizzaro was clutching it into the corners and using that to kind of shut off the engine so it's not using as much fuel as it would just by regular coasting. That'll save you a little bit, not too crazy, too much of a crazy amount of fuel, but enough to maybe get you at least onto pit road if you plan on pitting. So really smart move there by the 12 machine of Cannizzaro, as the 77 Dave Harvey still staying out.
Still staying out, but Bob Lorello is taking out chunks from David Harvey. Currently about 11 and a half seconds between Harvey and Lorello. But you do the math, if Lorello can continue catching him at the rate of about a second a lap, he's going to be there before the end of the race. So whether or not David Harvey has enough fuel to make it to the end of the race, Lorello showing enough pace to get to the back bumper. We'll see what that's like this time as Matthew Rodriguez there comes around the outside to get one of his laps back. Now going 1 lap down. James Lorello, another 1.2 seconds brings it almost to 10 seconds between the number 77 and Lorello. Like Lorello just had to make a pass on someone. Nope, excuse me, I take that back. Jason Shu has come down pit road to make his final stop. So the number 3 will get 4 fresh tires and fuel. We'll see him back out there shortly. Lorello here, Bob just has to cook away the laps. Keep everything nice and clean and wait to see if the front two are going to pit.
Yeah, and things just got a little bit easier for the 13 of Lorello as the 77 just kind of grazed the wall just a bit coming at it too. So he's got a little tiny bit of right side damage, just kind of got a little bit slideways coming off the corner and wound up just kind of catching the wall just a little bit. So Lorello, as you see on that graphic there, picked up 0.4 of a second that last lap, even just because of that wall hit. So now the question is, if I'm the 77 of Dave Harvey, did I save enough fuel? And do I have enough to run 10 more laps?
Do you have enough to make it to the end of this race? Might we see another caution flag? That could throw another kink in things, as Harvey this time going all the way down there to the yellow line. I was wondering if that was an indication that David was going to make it to pit road. Not this time. 10 more laps to go. Lorello just made a pass on Fernando Matos, as Matos, the Brazilian driver from Rio de Janeiro, is heading down pit road. So the number 24 not able to make it on fuel. All eyes on David Harvey. Can David make it to the end or not? Continues to stay out on the racetrack. Another lap is trying to make the racetrack as short as possible there, Bob, going all the way down to that yellow line almost on the start-finish line. But, gonna look out back. The blue and pink car, the kind of third one back, as caution is out, and that changes everything. Keith Carbaugh is crashed on the inside of the racetrack. Let's see what happened here to the number 29 machine. That is going to change this race drastically. Coming down the backstretch, just gets into the outside wall, lost where he was on the racetrack, and smashes into the inside of the racetrack, smacks the rear end of the car, and that was enough to bring out the caution flag. He was off the racing surface, Bob, but still iRacing throwing the caution, and that is huge advantage to David Harvey.
That just changed the complexity of this entire race. Look at that. The 77 of David Harvey. Now he's going to be, well, he's going to be definitely coming down pit road now, but he's kind of in the catbird seat. He's going to be coming out back in 13th place, maybe 14th place, as there's only a handful of cars that are left on the lead lap because of that pit cycle. And he's going to have the freshest tires out there amongst the leaders. And if he is able to keep things under him in about a 4-lap shootout, give or take, he might have a pretty good chance of picking up some more spots.
Now, we do have some drivers that are electing to stay out. Just trying to see who might be our lucky dog under this caution flag. I'm not 100% sure.
I believe it's 28 of Jamar Dumas. My timing and scoring had him as the first car 1 lap down.
Okay, well, that would make sense because Dumas is hustling around the racetrack right now. We do have a couple of drivers who stayed out, though. John Canizaro Jr. is one of those. Just pitted a little while ago, stayed out. J.D. Laird is going to be your race leader, just stayed out. David Harvey going to be restarting, it looks like, in the 3rd position. So it's not over. It is definitely not over. Still racing to be had here at The Rock here on 3YTV. Big shout out to those joining us in the chat here tonight. Mitchell Adams saying, "Go get him, John." Rooting on John Canizaro Jr. Johnny Williams saying, "Bad shoulders kept me from finishing tonight." Johnny, I hope that you can get those shoulders all worked out to get some practice in and get those shoulders where they need to be to get 130 laps around this joint. It's not an easy one. We've mentioned that a couple times here on this channel. So thanks for tuning on in. The Windsors saying congratulations. Stay tuned Sports and Will Ratcliffe's Ratcliffe, excuse me, also saying congratulations. Thank you, folks. Do appreciate it. Looking forward to it in just a few days' time from now. But Bob, I'm looking forward to the end of the race as well. I think we're going to have these cautions. Seems like they've been really long here tonight, so maybe a 4-lap shootout, maybe a 3-lap shootout. And J.D. Laird, we know a lot of pace out of him. We know there's a lot of pace out of John Cannizzaro. These two at the front, even though they're on older tires, they're going to do everything they can to make it as difficult as possible.
Yeah, and look at that, Peter. The 77 of David Harvey, he's in P3 after a lot of other cars came down pit road. He's got some of the freshest tires out there on the track, and if I'm the 12 or the 46, I'm looking in my mirror and I might start crying a little bit seeing all of those guys with fresh tires in a 4-lap shootout. Man, this is going to get good. This is going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to see how this one's going to finish.
And it's going to be a good one here on 3Y TV. We saw a great finish at Daytona. Might we see another great finish here tonight at the Rock? I thoroughly hope so. John Cannizzaro on that inside groove. J.D. Laird, Bob here choosing the outside line for the restart. He is the control car, so he can choose his line. So J.D. going to choose the high line. Cannizzaro on the inside. Lorello on fresh tires. They're starting 4th on the outside. I think it's going to be a little bit of an advantage to James Lorello here, Bob, because he's going to be right behind the control car. Harvey kind of stuck behind John Cannizzaro, waiting to see the green flag. There's the green flag, and a little bit of wheel spin from John Cannizzaro. Lorello caught sleeping, and J.D. Laird scooting away up at the front of the field, and now the inside line. They're all bunched up together. Here comes Lorello sweeping around the outside to try and get to the outside of Dave Harvey, but Cannizzaro going to throw a block on the outside. Cars in the outside wall. That's Lupe Gonzalez back there on the backstretch. We're at 4 laps to go. Coming to 3 this time by.
Coming to 3 laps to go. A lot of side-by-side action, but up here at the front, side-by-side battle. J.D. Laird on the inside, John Cannizzaro Jr. on the outside as they're neck and neck diving through turns 1 and 2.
And John Cannizzaro sweeps around the outside. 3 laps to go as J.D. Laird in the outside wall again. He's going to lose a spot here to James Lorello. Lorello squeaks on by on the fresh tires. Can he run down John Cannizzaro Jr. as we come to 2 more laps to go? Philip Scott squeaking on by J.D. Laird as there's a huge hornet's nest back there. 3 wide on 3Y TV. How about that as they head towards turn number 1? And there's contact. John Eckhart in the outside wall. He's able to somehow ping-pong around and save it. We stay green flag. Cannizzaro still your race leader up at the front of the field. James Lorello there in second as we're halfway down the backstretch. White flag this time by.
A difference of just about 10 laps between John Cannizzaro and James Lorello on tires, so this is going to be really interesting. White flag is in the air. John Cannizzaro, your leader, as they dive off into turn number 1.
Cannizzaro trying to do all he can to hold on. James Lorello's there. Going to get a strong run down the backstretch. Going to try and look to the inside. Gets loose out of turn number 2. Lorello, can he send it into turn number 3? He's going to try. Can it stick for Lorello on the outside? Can he put the power down? No, he cannot. Cannizzaro slides up, but here comes Lorello looking to the inside. Are they going to make contact? They will after the start-finish line. It's Lorello finishing second. Cannizzaro taking home the win as they stack him up back behind, and oh boy, that's a big accident in turn number 1 and 2 after the start-finish line. Cannizzaro gets the job done here at Rockingham Speedway.
Man, what a fantastic finish, and what a great battle for the lead that whole last lap. John Cannizzaro able to get it done, but what a great effort from the number 13 machine of James Lorello there. Tried to get to the inside of Cannizzaro, couldn't quite get it done, and man, we'll see John Cannizzaro burn it down. He's one of those guys that can do a beautiful burnout, and we'll see it here tonight.
Made that call to stay out in that final caution flag there, Bob, with about 8 laps to go, and just had enough time to hold on for that win. James Lorello back behind him, had the fresher tires, was closing in. Had this race been a lap or 2 longer, we very much could have seen a different driver in victory lane, but we didn't here tonight. Great call out of the Stay Tuned Sports Ford Mustang to stay out. Got the win here, and a good way to get his season up and running in race number 2. The Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125 winner as he parks it in victory lane.
and he's going to burn it down in victory lane as well. And you see the quote on the bottom of your screen. He's a mix of Jennifer Jo Cobb and Dale Earnhardt, and well, that's the Earnhardt side of things talking as he's burning it down in victory lane.
Well, we'll see if we can get these drivers up here into the three-wide TV interview waiting room. Definitely going to be fun to see what some of these drivers have to say after this particular event, because it was an interesting one. Kept us on our toes all the way to the checkered flag, that is for sure. Just getting everyone to the interview waiting room. Looks like we've got most of them there. Bob, why don't you take it away with tonight's third place finisher driver of the number 99 machine, Philip Scott.
Down here with Philip Scott, our third place finisher in tonight's race. Philip, Bob Giaquinto up here in the 3-Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Philip. Well, congratulations, a third place finish. Take me through that last set of laps right after the restart. Came down pit road and you're able to charge your way up through the field for a third place finish.
Yeah, that was a crazy finish. The whole race was just awesome. Like, I've been working really hard on long runs and stuff. It's crazy to think that only like a short year ago I was struggling for like 18th, 20th. Because I couldn't when the league started growing because I didn't know how to save my tires. But this was the most tire savey of them all. I saw the track temp was like 134 degrees, 135. But yeah, that last green light, or not green light checker, was like 5 laps. But it was really crazy because Dave hadn't been up there much, and then 2 cars with old tires. Although John's were just a few laps older, so I think that's how he barely held on. Because I think one more lap, me and Lorello got by him. So yeah, I was just full send trying to get into position. Definitely really close racing. I tried to kind of lay back a tiny bit so I could get like a run off of like 3 and 4 because I was expecting Lorello to like give him a little bump or something, and I could try to get a run off, which almost happened. But yeah, it was a very, very fun race, and I'm very proud of that because that's the first time I've gotten a third place in TNR since like the ARCA days. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to think the last time that we had an interview with you in these Xfinity cars, and it's definitely been quite a while. And Philip, you had mentioned that you were really in tire save mode for a lot of this race. How hard was it to save these tires because of just how abrasive this track surface is?
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. There were times throughout the runs, like early stages and stuff, like sometimes like there were varying strategies, so I had to really so I pretty much had no choice but to get track position. So sometimes I'd burn myself up a little more than other times because I was just trying to battle and get by other people. Because passing here is no easy task, especially if you're on the same tire strategy, because it's like, whoo, you're just sliding, and it's so hard to get that bite off the corner. But yeah, it was a very, very slick track.
Well, speaking of slick tracks, next week we head off towards Bristol. A little bit a different style of track, but another close quarters racing situation there. What are your thoughts as we head to Bristol next week?
I'm a pretty big fan of Bristol. I usually do all right there. Like obviously, like the way I've kind of come out of nowhere with this long green flag run skill. I kind of started cutting my teeth in NSRA in the trucks and Xfinity, and in the truck race there a couple months back, I got 4th and was one of only 4 on the lead lap, I think. So it was like the whole race was like under green. So I feel pretty good there. Obviously, these cars I'm better saving tires when there's more horsepower. So we'll see how next week goes. I'm hoping for another good finish.
Definitely. We look forward to seeing you out there. Before we let you go, Philip, do you have any shout outs for us?
Yeah, so if you can't tell, my new sponsor on my car is McKenna Hassey Racing. She is a 410 sprint car driver that races throughout the Midwest. She owns her own team, operates it and everything. She competed in the Knoxville Nationals last year, and I know her because of Ninja Warrior. So yeah, she's one of my ninja friends. Really cool to have her on board this year, and obviously National Ninja League. We have our World Championships coming up. If you're in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, first week of April 1st through 3rd, come check us out. It's going to be a very fun show. Thousands of the best ninjas from ages 6 to like old, they competing in ninja. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Well, Philip, congratulations on P3, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there next week at Bristol.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's Philip Scott, your 3rd place finisher in tonight's race, and I believe Peter is caught up with our second place finisher in the 13 of James Lorello.
Yes, sorry about that, Bob. I have caught up with the driver of the number 13 machine, James Lorello. Of course, tonight was the Elizabeth Lorello Racing 125, and almost brought the Elizabeth Lorello Racing number 13 into victory lane here tonight. Coming up probably 2 laps short, I would estimate, but nonetheless, a really strong run for you here tonight. James, talk us through this one, because once you got out front, it looked like it was going to be difficult for you to relinquish this one, but a late race caution kind of set you back.
Yeah, I hate that caution came out. I just couldn't get to Cannizzaro on time. He did a great job, and tried to get to him off that last corner. But I really love the long run at Rockingham, and we just, I think I would have been fine if that caution wanted to come out.
Yeah, definitely a tough one to swallow, but really cool to have the Elizabeth Lorello Racing on tonight's race as the race sponsor. And of course, the sponsor that's on your car every week will give you an opportunity to talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Glad I could sponsor the race this week. Wish I could have won it with it. It would have been a nice way to seal it off. But yeah, my daughter is Elizabeth. She's 6 years old. She runs quarter midget race cars here in North Carolina, and figured I'd sponsor the race in her name. Last year when I run the championship, I got to get the die cast of this car, it's a replica of hers. I got to get a new paint scheme because she's got pink and gold this year, so got to get that updated. But she's got that in her room now, so it's pretty cool. She starts the season in end of March, and hopefully she can win more than I do.
Well, you came up just a fraction short here tonight at a 1 mile racetrack. The race is a little bit like a short track at times. At least you have to stay as focused here as you do any short track with how bumpy it is. But short track next week, Bristol Motor Speedway, half-mile racetrack, the last great Coliseum, the Bull Ring, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts about Bristol?
Yeah, super excited about Bristol. I love all these tracks like this. As long as it stays green, I'll really love it. I love Bristol on a long run, and I think I'll have something for him next week.
Well, we'll be keeping our eyes on the number 13, same time, same place, right here on 3 Wide TV. Before I let you go, James, any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Oh, thanks to you guys for broadcast. Can't wait to go watch it. And my teammate Bill, we had a good plan there, but it just didn't work out. So thanks to everybody who helps put on the league, and let's have a good year.
Absolutely. Well, James, congratulations on the runner-up spot here tonight. And maybe we'll get to talk to you next week at Bristol. Good luck.
See ya.
All right, now time to go down to Victory Lane, where there's a whole bunch of smoke because Mr. John Cannizzaro smoked up everything down there. I believe Bob Giaquinto's might be coughing in and amongst that smoke down there in Victory Lane, but he's caught up with John Cannizzaro, tonight's winner, Bob.
Yeah, it's definitely quite smoky down here with tonight's winner, John Cannizzaro. And John, first of all, congratulations on getting the win. Take me through that last restart and ultimately that 8 or so lap shootout for the win.
The last restart, I really don't even know. I didn't think my own mind knows what I was thinking about that last restart. But I knew I had the tires. I knew JD did not have the tires I had. I do believe he stayed out when he pit with everybody else. No running room off turn 4 when I tried to get around him, and all of a sudden the wall's coming up fast. And keep your foot in it. Either you're going to wreck or you're going to win. And I came out on the winning end of it at least.
Well, John, a fantastic battle pretty much all night long for P1. And, just kind of talk to me about this track, and like you said, the wall kind of came up quick on you. It's a challenging track, and kind of how did you deal with the changes as the race was going on?
Well, I'm sure you'll know this considering you helped us do the test session and the coaching. Once that right rear, that right front burns off, you're either hand over fist on corner exit, or you're praying to God the car starts turning on exit. So, me of all people, I'm sure everybody knows I am not a very good tire saver, so I'm both in the same run. But Rockingham, in general, is a tough racetrack. I myself have a love-hate relationship with it. I hate it when I'm slow. I love it when I'm fast. So I think it was a good car, good race, and driver, well, maybe a little dizzy.
Well, luckily you were on the love side of things this week, and next week we head off to Bristol. What are your thoughts about doing 300 laps there next week?
300 laps. I didn't know that part of it. I guess we'll have to see. I'm going to have to pull some practice sessions. Not the greatest at Bristol. Outside of a super late model, so we'll have to see.
Well, John, before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs for us?
STS especially let me sponsor me this season. Yeah, he sponsored me in the truck series. I never got to do a burnout with it, so big shout out to him. I finally got to do that John Force burnout for him. All the series sponsors, Bagcraft, Lorello for sponsoring the race. Hope everything with him's good. Glad to see him on board with everything. You guys put on the broadcast up here, and everybody else in the league for good racing.
Well, John, congratulations on the win. We're looking forward to seeing you out there next week in Bristol.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our post-race interviews here tonight at the beautiful Rockingham Speedway with John Cannizzaro Jr. taking home the second win of the season here. Fortunately, JT Poole not able to get his second win of the season in race number 2, but it was an eventful race nonetheless. Let's see if we can bring up those final race results for all of you, and there we go. Johnny Cannizzaro gets that win. James Lorello finishing in second. Philip Scott finishing in third. We talked to our top 3. Mike Floppy Tellier there in the number 97 finishing in fourth. David Harvey, who looked to be in the catbird seat for a while, finishing in 5th. J.D. Laird, who stayed out on that final pit stop, finishing in 6th. Kevin Stone, 7th. Bill Edwards, you're my boy, Blue, finishing there in 8th. Lupe Gonzalez, 9th. And rounding out our top 10, Kyle Zimmer. There, Bob.
And finishing in 11th, the 55 of Stephen Dosiak. Matthew Rodriguez in 12th. John Eckhart, the 4th in P13. Jamar Dumas, 14th. Garrett Gleason, 15th. Tristan Thuggy Maher in 16th. Jason Shue, Jake Hoyle, Fernando Matos in 19th. And Brady Todd rounding out your top 20.
And taking you through the rest of your drivers here tonight, Keith Carball finishing in 21st, 12 laps down. Robert Tripp, 18 laps down in 22nd. Johnny Williams, 41 laps down, 23rd. JT Poole, 47 laps down in 24th. And Tony Lucarelli, really our only early retirement here tonight in an early accident, unfortunately, in his Bagcraft number 41. Well, folks, I think that's just about going to do it for us here tonight in the Total Nonstop Racing League Bagcraft Grand National Series. Make sure to check out bagcraftcornhole.com, Polyhedral Cathedral. If you want some stuff etched and some cool gaming stuff, make sure to check them out, as well as all of our other series sponsors here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. You can check all of them out in the description of the video, including Thornton Graphix, Dunn Raceway Park, and, of course, Stay Tuned Sports and the STS Sports Podcast. There's a link to their Podbean in the description of the video. Great to see them in the chat here tonight. JT Poole rooting on John Cannizzaro Jr. Stay Tuned Sports saying great finish, awesome finish, James and John. Great to see that for the second time this season, Bob. We've seen 2 stellar races. Looking forward to Bristol next week.
Yeah, definitely. We have the average margin of victory under 1/10 of a second, and Bristol, I feel like, is going to be even more exciting. So I'm ready to go to the last great Coliseum for sure.
Me as well, and I'm sure the chat will be as well. Well, folks, stay safe and all of that good stuff. We'll see you 1 week from now at 8:05 Eastern Time here on 3 Wide TV. Stay safe. Until then, we shall see ya!